11 years in the NFL. TJ Houshmandzadeh, you know what he does. He works out with these guys. He works out with all these players. You know, I was with Steve Keim this weekend, former NFL GM in Arizona, and I asked him, I said, who's the best run organization, top to bottom owner? He said, Baltimore. He said, that's how you run an organization.
I played with Baltimore, so in my time there, I thought, wow, if it gets better than this, it's crazy. And so that's good to hear that they do as great of a job as I thought.
So as a player, you felt supported?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's completely different when you play for other organizations and then you go play for the Ravens. Yeah, and I've told them this. I've told Harbaugh this as well. Like, this is the way they treat you and the way things, just the way they do things. It's just different.
And you were with the Seahawks, which is a well-run team, but it didn't feel quite like Baltimore.
No, it wasn't like Baltimore at all, no.
Yeah, well, that's why they keep winning.
It's not a coincidence.
Steve Bisciotti's down in Florida, stays out of it. He's got his yacht somewhere up in the Baltimore, D.C. area, I heard. It's supposed to be nice.
Bisciotti's a good dude, man.
Yeah, good dude. One of the good ones. You know, we were talking about there are certain positions in football, primarily wide receivers. So I've defended wide receivers on this. They're the basketball players of football. They break the huddle first. They're not terribly reliant on a blocker. You have to throw them open. That's expected now in the league. I don't care if he's open. Throw him open. They're often the best athlete. Many of them are basketball players who play football. Their touchdowns are the most spectacular in all the game. So I understand they get a little gassed up sometimes. Receivers, there's a term, diva receiver, not diva center or diva guard. So I get it and I defend them. But I do think maturity matters. You came in, you were a professional football player. And then we see these guys that come in, they get a little gassed up and whatever. I don't know Rome Odunze, but I got a text the other day from a former NFL quarterback, and he said, you guys have no idea. He will walk into the NFL. He will be Larry Fitzgerald. He could run the league in 10 years. I don't know Rome Odunze at all. But you're kind of smiling when you say that. I don't think he's as gifted as Nabers at LSU. But there's a lot of variables in success at receiver. Why are you smiling?
Rome is just that type of dude.
What do you mean?
He's just like, he's just going to do the right thing all the time, not because he has to think about it. That's just who he is. That's just who he is as a person. But he's talented, man.
But you were smiling when I was saying that.
Because I can see that being the case, because people have asked me, who do I compare him to? I can't compare him to anybody. And the closest person that I can get to is Larry Fitzgerald. But he's faster. And so, there's really his ball skills are like Larry Fitzgerald. But he can run. He can drop his weight. He has good quickness. And he's just a good dude.
Right.
And so, every receiver, we all want the ball. And some are going to
demand it
outwardly, verbally, and let you know it. And then the quiet ones, they want the ball. They just going to make sure a camera's not around when they yelling, I want the ball.
Right.
And so with Rome and all the receivers, but it's because I spent time with Rome. I know him. And he can be quite possibly the best receiver of this draft, and this may be the best receiver draft we've ever seen.
So I've been defending Atlanta for a lot of reasons. I said in the NFL, if you have an extra left tackle, quarterback, edge rusher, that's like a rich person problem. That's like saying, I paid $1 million in taxes this year. I don't want to hear about your problems. So the Falcons have the best starting quarterback in their division and probably the most talented backup in the NFL. It's going to be clunky and weird, the contract signed, but I'll take it. What I don't want to be is Carolina, where I'm not sure I have one quarterback, or the New York Giants. So let me ask you, because I think Mahomes came into this league and didn't demand a play. I don't think Penix, I think he'll sit there for a year and be the good soldier. I think by the second year at practice, he's going to be like, I throw a better ball. Do you foresee any problems with Penix, who right now probably throws a better deep ball than Kirk?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think there'll be problems?
No, not at all. But I don't understand the people that were up in arms about them drafting Penix. I don't understand how people could, why would they draft Penix? Because Kirk Cousins is older and he's coming off an injury. If Kirk Cousins is what the Falcons hope he is.
A B.
When will they ever be in a position to draft a quarterback like Michael Penix?
Thank you.
Never.
And if you move up, you'll have to give up 9 picks.
And so if you have a chance to get him now, why wouldn't you? Kirk Cousins is going to play 2 years. And if he's playing more than 2 years, guess what? That's a great problem to have because that means we're winning. And so what's the problem about them drafting Penix?
Think about
you draft a guy in the hope he can help your team, or draft a quarterback. Penix is super talented. I told you this when I was on the show prior. I didn't understand how people didn't think he was a first rounder. Obviously, that was smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Penix can play. And so if he sits a year or 2 years, great. If he sits longer than that, that means the Falcons are winning ball games.
Yeah. And this was my argument, that I think Atlanta in that lousy division is going to win 11 games. Well, now you're drafting 21st. Do you know how? And next year's a bad quarterback draft. And so they're saying, I can see Atlanta sitting there at 8 and thinking, okay, we love Caleb, we're not going to get him. We love Jaden, we're not going to get him. We don't like Drake, and we don't fit with Bo. And they don't love JJ. I can see them saying, listen, Penix was our 2 or our 3. And all of a sudden he's available, and they're like, we don't want to overdraft Dallas Turner. And we don't know exactly what Kirk likes off the Achilles. I thought this draft was a circumstantial draft, that you kind of waited and watched. I talked to Tom Telesco of the Raiders, and he's like, we were getting calls, we were making calls. He said it was an active draft. And I think Atlanta got there and went, hell, let's just take him. And the reaction is crazy.
I didn't get it. I thought Penix was going to be a Raider. I really did.
Oh, no, they wanted to.
I told them. I said, y'all bet not pass on Penix. I was telling them the days and weeks leading up to the draft. I'm like, y'all bet not pass on him. I'm telling you now. I told them multiple times. It's a smart thing to do. And Penix will succeed because he's not going to be forced to play.
Yeah.
He's going to learn the system.
Yeah.
And when he finally plays, they're going to say, whoa.
Okay. Fit matters. You know this. Like wide receiver or running back, Adrian Peterson was going to work everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Like Calvin Johnson worked in cruddy Detroit. Quarterback is much more fit in most cases. So Bo Nix, people think it's a reach. But I think in Denver, if you watched Oregon's offense, it was 2 reads, throw it. He completed 77% of his throws. Pac-12 never been better. It's like, you don't have to love him. That's Sean Payton's. Sean wants you to run his play. I think he works in Denver. Did you think it's a big reach?
No. Sean Payton wants a quarterback that gets the ball out on time with anticipation.
Accurately.
That's what he wants. That's what Bo Nix has done at Oregon. He transformed himself because when he was at Auburn, he wasn't this guy. He wasn't this guy at Auburn. He goes to Oregon, and he transforms himself as a player. I'm getting the ball out quick, and what you say, I can throw it accurately. Look at my completion percentage. And so I have no problem with the pick. And also, he's had so many offensive coordinators. He has no problem learning the system.
Isn't that crazy? He's had 6 in college.
He's going to pick things up, and he's going to pick them up quickly. And so for me, I have no worries that he'll be successful because he has a coach that has always been successful with whatever quarterback that he's played. Say what you want about Russell Wilson. He was having a pretty good year last year.
Yeah.
He really was. Every quarterback that has played for Sean Payton, whether it's Drew Brees,
Taysom Hill,
Jameis Winston,
Bridgewater,
Teddy Bridge, they've had success. Bo Nix will have success.
Very few people turn down Jim Harbaugh. I'm not going to get into too many stories, but let's just say TJ Houshmandzadeh, who gets NFL offers regularly, Jim Harbaugh is dialing you up.
No, I wouldn't say. I don't get NFL offers regularly. I've just done some things with the Chargers, and I'll do some things with them this offseason, OTAs and training camp, things like that.
I had an executive in the league last year watch our show, and you were on, and texted me, do you think he'd be willing to be a coach for us? And I said, hey, he's got kids. He's, your role right now is great, though. You are kind of you are known on the West Coast as sort of the receiver guy. So Chargers call you, people call you, and it's like, hey, we're going to send our receivers to you, come to camp. So it's interesting about all these receivers. They're all very, very good. I'm not doubting that. The Niners are in a fascinating place. So they've got a lot of physical players, and they demand a lot. Debo's been hurt. Kittle's been hurt. Trent, McCaffrey. Ayuk hasn't. So they have to start replenishing their skill people because they're great, but you can only ask McCaffrey to touch it 300 times. He's like a baseball pitcher. There's only so many innings there. So they go get Cowling, the kid out of Arizona, in the 4th round. They get the kid out of Florida, Ricky Pearsall. And so it does kind of signal they want to watch him in camp and then maybe make some decisions on what they can move. If you were the Niners and you had to move one of those receivers, we talked about this yesterday. Ayuk is the classic deep threat, but Purdy's not a big deep ball thrower. Debo's better on a more consistent basis for Shanahan, but he's expensive and gets beat up. What do you do if they're not keeping all these guys?
To me, when you see the Niners draft Pearsall in the 1st round, Cowing in the 4th.
And you know both.
Debo and Ayuk, one of those will for sure be gone after this year if they show they can play.
Yeah.
If Pearsall and Cowing both show they can play.
In camp.
100% they're gone. I don't think they'll get rid of one in camp because you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. I believe they'll play with them during the season. And ideally, I believe they would want to trade Debo because they can get something for him, whereas Ayuk would be a free agent and you would just get a compensatory 3rd-round pick. Maybe can you get a 2 for Debo as opposed to a 3 compensatory pick for Ayuk? That's what I foresee. Can Pearsall and or Cowing both show that we don't need BA or Debo? You can't get rid of them during training camp because you are a Super Bowl contender. You can't get rid of one of your best offensive players. I don't think you can do that. That would really tear the locker room apart. Guys would be pissed off if you do that.
Yeah.
They'd be angry.
Yeah. You know, it is, you deal with all these receivers. We know that quarterbacks come in all shapes and sizes. When you look at all these wide receivers now, are they better than ever?
Oh, man. The receivers are better than they've ever been. Top to bottom, better than they ever been.
One-hand catches everywhere.
It's not even that, man. Like the catching, they practice it, they work on it more. You catch a ball or try to catch a ball one-handed practice. When I was playing, what? Man, the coach gonna go crazy on you. So now it's just like par for the course, it's whatever. But they have access to better training. Like, I don't really train high school kids because they're not as committed as they should be. But there's times that I have. And so you got high school kids training with NFL players. And so they get around the best in the world at an early age. That's why they're better. You got college kids that are training with the best players in the world at an earlier time frame than when we were. I didn't train with anybody in the NFL till I got to the NFL. And these kids are getting that opportunity in college, which in turn, I believe, just makes them better.
Yeah. So when you look at the draft, obviously, like Chicago's going to be a better football team.
Yes.
They built a roster, he should succeed. What will you see from Caleb Williams? We'll know if he's doing well. Will there be anything that you see that you'd worry about? Will there be something in terms of his progressions? What are you worried about? You know him. What would concern you in the first 6 or 7 games? Because we know if he's succeeding, we'll all see it. But you would notice the little stuff that I wouldn't, the details that would concern you.
I want to see how Shane Waldron puts this offense together that complements what Caleb does well. Shane Waldron comes from Seattle, and we would say last year the Seattle Seahawks had a better offensive collection of players than the Bears.
Yes.
Offensively, they're very similar numbers.
Yeah.
Points-wise, yards per game. And so why is that? With what Seattle had last year compared to what Chicago had last year, offenses were very similar, points per game and yards per game.
But Seattle had more talent.
But Seattle had more talent.
Is that on Waldron?
So why? That's my point is, should they have been better? And does that fall on Waldron, or is it Pete Carroll being a defensive guy.
Yeah. He's
kind of butting into the offense. It could be those type of things also. And I would probably believe that is the case.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, I expect Chicago, with what they have, finishing 7-10 last year, I believe, they'll be a wild card team. I really believe it. They have that much talent on the offensive side of the ball.
That's what J-Mac's been saying that.
I believe they'll be a wild card team. Defensively, they're better. And offensively, when you add Keenan Allen, Caleb Williams, Rome, DeAndre Swift, what rookie quarterback is coming to this?
Nothing.
We've never seen this before.
Think about what Baker, Kyler, Trevor, Burrow, they all came with a huge question. Like Trevor Lawrence got a college coach. Burrow's offensive line was terrible. There's nothing on this offense that you say to yourself, oh, that's an issue. Daniel Jones had nothing but Saquon. Like, it's usually you've got one reliable blank. Even Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets. Garrett Wilson's a kid. Everything else, Breece Hall's off an injury. Chicago's got everything.
3 receivers, a running back.
And also remember.
And a tight end.
And remember, Rome Odunze, because of his maturity, will not need to be ramped up.
Rome is going to be ready to go from day one.
Yeah.
Day one, ready to roll.
It's exciting.
They'll be a wild card team.
So when you were recently talking, let's do a little Jim Harbaugh thing. So you were recently with the Chargers and talking to Jim. I've known people that have worked with Jim, and it works everywhere. It worked at San Diego. It worked with the Niners. It worked at Stanford. It worked with Michigan. Every coach has a secret sauce. What's Harbaugh's secret sauce?
When I was attention to detail. I mean, the meetings, everything is detail oriented. Like the meetings, just like this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is what we like. Every little detail matters. Team meeting, offensive meeting, position meeting, in the weight room, the walkthroughs, everything matters. We're not letting any little small thing slip through the crack. That's what I gained from that, is every little thing matters.
I was told, Eric Mangini told me this. He said, Jim is not concerned at all if you get bored with repetition. He will do things 100 times to get it right.
Yeah, but it's not like when you sit in the meetings, he's not one of those coaches that's yelling and this is how we're going to do it. Y'all like it? Justin, you like this? All right, let's go. Like, he's not one of those guys. Like,
he doesn't go on and on and on.
Because he was a good player in the league, because he had success everywhere he's been, as soon as he walks in a room, respect. And that's how the players are approaching their preparation, because they know what he's accomplished. He doesn't have to do all of that. It's respect as soon as he steps foot in the door.
I'm so excited. I'm trying to temper my enthusiasm because I'm viewed, J-Mac, Nick Wright calls me a Charger homer. I think it's outrageous. But I will.
They're going to be good, Colin. Well, they're going to be good.
What did Harbaugh tell you about Justin Herbert's record on the points?
27-4. When you give up less than 24 points, I'll never forget it in a meeting. He just said it, and I've remembered it.
So Harbaugh's whole take is, we're not giving up 24, 25 points a game. If you give up 23, Justin Herbert's 27-4.
That defense, that front four, front seven, the back end with Derwin James. Derwin James is a leader of men. They follow him. He is the leader of that defense, and they follow him. Works hard.
Great seeing you, my man. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.